What's up, YouTube? Not too often you see me wearing the eyeliner and spikes, but... So y'all know what this is on the front of my shirt, right? It looks like an American flag themed pot leaf. That's pretty cool looking, you know, considering our founding fathers smoked it. I view this as my most patriotic shirt that I own. But apparently some people don't have the same views as me when it comes to things like Mary Jane. And my quoted expression for Mary Jane is, "Have you met my lady friend Mary Jane? She gets passed around a lot, but she's not a whore." I'm also wearing, for whoever fucking cares, I'm wearing my trip shorts, which the spikes and chains and all that. So yeah. And normally I don't wear these shorts. I'm usually seen wearing like work pants and stuff, but I had the day off today, so yeah. On speaking of marijuana, y'all heard that story, right, about the 6th grader in that one middle school. They found a leaf in his backpack that suspiciously looked like a pot leaf. So they expelled his ass for their zero tolerance policy on drugs, right? Which, if you think about it, and Job Corps had the very same zero tolerance policy for drugs on campus. Yet if a student had a disorder that couldn't be controlled via the adults saying, "Hey, knock it off," you know, if they felt it was a disorder that needed to be dealt with on a more medicated level, you'd walk down to the infirmary at Job Corps or the nurse's office, and you'd sign your fucking name on the sheet, you date it, and they give you a pill and a little ketchup cup, and you'd wash it down with some water, and you'd be on your way. Those are drugs they give students. Yeah, they catch me with some marijuana on campus, and, oh, you're out of here, buddy. Yeah, now that marijuana is legal in at least 4 states, how the fuck do Job Corps campuses deal with pot use in Colorado? Because Job Corps itself is a zero tolerance policy on drugs like marijuana, but I view it as a plant. Anyway, I'm backtracking a little bit here. There was a grade schooler in 6th grade who got suspended on suspicion of having a pot leaf in his backpack. When they tested it 3 times, okay, they tested that plant 3 fucking times, and guess what? They found out it wasn't pot. Imagine that. So now they're in the slow process of hopefully he's back in school. And it's like, well, your kid won't pay attention in school, so because they're more focused on, ooh, boobs and, ooh, food, you know, because when boys get to be a certain age, that's probably the only thing that's on their mind, boobs and food. When you're a teenage boy, you know what I'm saying, YouTube? Straight up. But, yeah, you know, if your kid doesn't pay attention in class, well, let's give them this drug. That'll solve everything. You see the blatant hypocrisy of this, okay? And I give it fucking to you, if the situation was reversed, and marijuana was legal everywhere, and prescription pills were illegal, that if the kid had brought something to school that looked like a prescription pill, he'd be suspended, because it's just how it is. In whatever fucktard universe that may be. But, often I ponder these things way too deep for the average human to think. I'll give you an example here. Now, Albert Einstein's theory on energy says you cannot destroy it, you cannot make it. So where does it go when you die? Well, I'll ask the bigger question. If you cannot destroy or make energy, where's all the energy of the planet going to go when it goes... You know, billions upon billions of years from now, when Mother Earth just decides she's had enough of everyone's shit and decides that she wants to explode, you know. Think of it like hitting rewind on a VCR, and Mother Earth's your tape. And the VCR is your little universe full of gases and what have you. If you can't destroy energy or make it, where does it go when you die? You know, that's a good question. The bigger question is what's going to happen when the Earth explodes? Which means all that has happened will happen again. All this. See, right now we're in that phase where Mother Earth is still pretty young. You know, we got a couple thousand years or so after the sun goes out, we live off. People who have solar energy, they have all that shit stored up. So they'll have people who live on solar energy or what have you are probably gonna have a lot of energy built up from the sun and shit. You know, I actually know some people who have solar energy for their houses, and they're literally paying $1 and some odd cents for their energy bill. That's not bad, YouTube. That's not bad at all. Okay, so what's going to happen when the Earth finally explodes because the sun's been out for 1,000 years? People have used up the Earth's core for their energy sources for a couple more thousand years, and then the Earth's core just can't take it and it goes. Everyone on the planet living in that particular time just dies because the planet explodes. Now, another thing that sparks my interest as I spark up a cigarette here, is scientists have discovered that there have been past Earths living before this one. How about that? Which makes my bullshit theory sound more logical, doesn't it? They've actually discovered planets that resemble Earth in the past. Like, they've literally, in space, they've discovered asteroids and rocks and what have you that they believe could have once been past Earths. So, either two things. One, humans are probably, more than likely, evolved from an ancient alien race, or evolution or what have you. Or, after this planet explodes, it's added to the list of past planets that scientists have discovered. And in its place, another one is slowly created. And the same shit that has happened in the past, the same shit that is happening now, and the same shit that will happen in the future is going to happen again. That's just something to think about. So kind of like when you're done watching your favorite movie, for those of you who remember growing up as a kid, you know, I remember the old VCR tapes and shit before they had the circular discs known as DVDs. And even then, you know, especially, and it'd be like the energy itself. Okay, if you can't destroy it, you can't make it, so where's it going to die? Well, think of it as a build-up, you know what I'm saying? Like, freaking the energy that's built up to that moment where, you know, like I said, the sun explodes after a couple billion years or so, and there are still people on the planet after the sun explodes. They'll have by then found a way to live off the Earth's crust for energy source and what have you. And then after the Earth's crust gets used up, you know, what then? Does the Earth explode? More than likely it will. But that's not for billions of years from now. So people right now, don't shit yourselves worrying about it. If you think about this for a second, and then once the Earth explodes and then freaking it recreates itself due to all the energy from the past to the present to the future being built up to that point, and if you can't destroy that energy, because let's think about this for a second, the Earth has been around for a long ass time, and I mean a long ass time, and will continue to be around for a long ass time. So all the energy of people living and dying and being born in this and yada yada yada, all the energy of all those souls collected, it's now floating around. And then you also have that theory called the Big Bang Theory, yeah? What if that Big Bang is Mother Earth exploding and then being remade again? That's something to think about. And a lot of people will sit there and tell you that I'm full of shit, that God created the planet and yada yada yada. That's the most simple way of putting things, yes, but let's think about this for a second. No, the likelihood of that, no, bullshit. And the thing of it is, too, when you think about this, it's like the hypocrisy of it. You're going to suspend a kid from middle school on suspicions of carrying a fucking leaf in his backpack that resembles a pot leaf, and even after it's tested multiple times that it's not pot. What the fuck? Then you'll turn around and falsely diagnose your kid with ADHD because he or she can't pay attention in school. So you give them some drug they don't fucking need, just to, yeah, just to make Big Pharma rich. Because that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it, YouTube? I, for one, smoke pot for my Asperger's syndrome. I find it's very helpful for the dopamine release in my brain, which, when you have Asperger's syndrome, believe it or not, your brain doesn't release enough dopamine to make you function like a normal human being, whatever normal may be. Each person's definition of normal is different, so what the fuck ever. But if I want to smoke pot, it helps me calm the fuck down, and I'm able to focus on shit. And yeah. Now, I've been smoking pot for, 5 to 6 years now. And if anything, if I'm thinking of when the Earth's going to end and theorizing what's going to happen when the Earth explodes, obviously it hasn't damaged my brain cells. Obviously it's made me more aware of my surroundings. So that the fact of the matter is I won't be around for when that happens. I won't be. I won't live that long. I'll be lucky to live past 58 years old. He said he'll take another long-ass drag off a cigarette. No, but seriously, you two. That is something to think about. I may be 24 years old, but I'm very aware of my own mortality. To tell you the truth, I'm very aware of it. Just think of that explosion as the rewind button getting pushed, and that incredibly long-ass VHS tape that is Mother Earth, it rewinds. So I picture it like everything that has happened or will happen is happening in reverse, and then it rewinds itself with something, and then the explosion before the Earth happens again, and then look at that, here's another fucking planet, and then the dinosaurs happen, and blah, 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 blah. Because scientists have found asteroids or past planets that could have been past Earths. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking that that's what's going to happen when the planet explodes, billions of years from now. Yeah. Now, I'm not a Harvard graduate or anything. I didn't even go to college. So, if you're not a scientist, you're just a fast food worker. What makes you qualified to think these things? See, I don't have to be qualified to think shit, motherfucker. It's my fucking brain, for one thing. And for another thing, I'm just hypothesizing. Oh, this retard knows a lot of big fancy words. No, but seriously, YouTube. I thought of that when I was high one day. High functioning autism, as they call Asperger's syndrome. I'm like, I'm high right now. I wish I was high right now. God damn it. But I've learned to just cope with being out of marijuana. Because I realize that I'll get it when I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't gonna trip about it. I used to get really cranky when I run out of weed, but lately I'm just like, these last couple of months, I'm like, man, I'll get it when I get it. So it's like, picture, if you will, because you know how when you press rewind on a VCR tape and you have the TV turned on, and whatever movie you're watching is playing backwards to the point where it starts from the beginning and then plays forward again. Metaphorically speaking, I believe that's what's going to happen when all this is said and done. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. So I'll be sitting here making the same stupid videos for however long I exist on this planet, and what have you. So, yeah. Because out of fucking nowhere, scientists were discovering that Saturn's moon, Taurus, may have had ancient alien life on it at one point. Interesting. Then you have those things called crop circles, believe it or not. And some of them are man-made, yes, but some of them are way too fucking intricate to have been made in one night without causing too much fucking noise. You get those things you can't explain rationally. So do I believe in aliens and ghosts and all that? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. If I get called a crockpot for or crackpot or whatever you want to call it for thinking those things, so be it. You know. But yeah. I mean, there's a lot of theories as to how humans came into existence. Some people who don't want to think too hard about it, they just give it some excuse like God did it, and then they leave it at that, and then they're done with it, and that helps them sleep better at night. But some people want to hypothesize that we evolved from fish, basically, which is ironic as fuck because fish oil is incredibly good for your body, believe it or not. But then if you want to go a bit further back than that, and that's a question, what exactly did fish evolve from? And my best guess would be bacteria or some sorts found in the water. I don't know how, I'm guessing that's probably my best answer for you. I honestly don't know. I wasn't there to witness it. But bacteria and gases forming the planet in some, what I'm saying? And, and then those fish crawl out of fucking water and form lizards and some shit, and then those lizards turn into fucking dinosaurs. And those dinosaurs became extinct, and then cavemen and women were upon us and shit. But there are a couple of things in human history that have advanced human civilization to what we know it as today. Two things. One, the invention of the wheel, and two, the discovery of fire. Those two things alone have made our civilization to what it is today. Because with the advancement of the invention of the wheel and shit, they discovered that, hey, if we get a barrel and put a wheel on it, we can haul a bunch of stuff to the cave or to the campsite or whatever you want to call it. And two, it might have just happened accidentally during a rainstorm one day. They're huddled up underneath their cave or whatever. And all of a sudden, the rain just stops as lightning strikes a branch, and the branch is catching on fire. And they're like, what the fuck is this stuff? They try touching it, and they go, ow! Burns their hand. But then at the same time, they discovered that they were cold, but now sitting in front of that fire, they're not cold. So now, somehow they discovered how to make it, and that's a concept that I find hard to, I don't know, it's hard for me to picture because you think a simplified human civilization somehow discovered how to make fire. They discovered what it was, but then how the fuck did they discover how to make it? For them to, well, they just bored one day and started banging certain rocks together, and oh look, this creates sparks. But then through the discovery of fire and what have you, and the ancient artifacts they used to hunt animals with, like spears and bows and arrows and shit, they were able to eat, and they would cut the carcasses off the animals they'd hunt, and they'd make clothing with it, like shoes and what have you. And through that, they were able to stay warm through the colder months of Mother Earth's weather cycle and what have you. Yeah. Long before Christianity and all that bullshit, every other fucking religion can just kiss my ass. And the reason I say that is because magic is the oldest religion on the planet, period. Ancient civilizations had medicine men and women and shamans and what have you. These were men and women who were in tune with Mother Earth and who had a vast knowledge of its many herbs and natural remedies that could be used to help with everyday ailments. I forget the name of this plant, but there's this plant you can, if you know where to get it, you break it open, and it's this goopy stuff that comes out, and people put it on their cuts and their sores, and it cleans them out, and it helps the bleeding stop and stuff. So, yep. What might have been the forbidden fruit in the Garden of Eden? My guess was it was dragon's fruit, believe it or not. That's my theory. Now, the Christian told version of the Garden of Adam and Eve is a bullshit lie. Adam's first wife, Lilith, for instance, yeah. But then something happened. Either they divorced or she didn't see. Actually, what happened was Lilith didn't agree with his ways, if you will, so she left the garden, and Eve comes along, yeah. But when you put that into perspective, that, if you're not, you know what I'm saying, but by the time technology has gotten to the point where people are feeding off the Earth's core to sustain and maintain energy on the surface above it, then that means technology by then is going to be a lot more advanced than it is now. And people have said this, and I have said this on multiple occasions, man. We're already approaching the Jetsons age, if you want to call it that. I saw a story on CNN the other day. They have taxis that can float in the air like a Jetsons car. Straight up. They have a taxi now that floats in the air like a Jetsons car. Yep. With these Google glasses and shit, and, oh, you want to talk to somebody? Here's your watch to do it on. See what I'm saying? Like, as society continues to advance and what have you, technology will continue to become more and more advanced to the point where it's just astronomically mind-blowing. I mean, some of the shit we have today is pretty damned impressive, to tell you the truth. But, you know what I'm saying? It is. The technology we have today is pretty mind-blowing. And people have said that we've invented everything we can invent. I call bullshit on that. There's still so many things we can invent to better our lives, make them easier. And people tell you that if you do drugs, you'll amount to nothing in your life. Yeah, Thomas Edison smoked pot, believe it or not, and he came up with the idea to create the light bulb, which, if you think about it, you flip a switch in your light. When we think about it, hold on a second. Let me just do something real quick. What's this? It's a light switch. Let's see what happens when we. Oh, look. A little convenience of turning on and off a light. You see that? As I flip the switch on my light here in the makeshift dining room, that little convenience was thought up of by somebody who was doing drugs. Yeah, in the education system, they tell you, kids, if you do drugs, you'll amount to nothing in your life. Which is funny because if your kid's falsely diagnosed with ADHD, they're forcefully fed a drug they don't need. Now, going back to coming full circle to the middle schooler getting freaking expelled. And as a result of him getting expelled, he suffered from a number of things: anxiety, panic attacks, what have you, depression. And it's like, dude, really? Because some kids actually care about their education, believe it or not. And when you get falsely accused of having a marijuana plant in your backpack, and then you get expelled for it, that can tarnish your record pretty severely. You want to get into a good college? Oh, it says here you were previously expelled for having pot in your backpack, and you have to go through the whole process of explaining to them that, actually, no, it wasn't an actual pot leaf, it was a fake one. See, the thing of it is, YouTube, if this kid knew about his school's strict zero-tolerance policy on drugs and what have you, why the fuck would he have a belief in his backpack that looks like a pot leaf? And since when is it okay? I mean, if the kid's not acting out, if the kid's not misbehaving, what the fuck gives the student or the school system the authority to search a kid's backpack without probable cause, under suspicion? You know what I'm saying? How the fuck did this even happen? Was he like at lunch or something, and he was grabbing a book from his backpack, and a student saw it and went and told a teacher? I don't fucking know. I wasn't there to witness it, like I said. But what I do know is it's horseshit. The fact that marijuana can be used to treat Alzheimer's disease, arthritis, multiple sclerosis, ADHD, autism, cancer. Is it the magical cure-all? No, it's not. But you're going to tell me I can't smoke pot when our founding fathers smoked it, and when the Constitution and Declaration of Independence were drafted on hemp paper, when Benjamin Franklin wore clothing made out of hemp, when the first United States flag was sewn out of a hemp sail from a colonial ship. Think about this for a second. If you see pictures of the first United States flag in your school textbooks, you look at the stars of the colony, they're arranged in a complete circle. Think about that for a second, YouTube. Just think about that for a second. Well, hopefully audio doesn't get silenced on this video, because this is a really awesome video, in my opinion, because it gives you a lot to think about. And normally you see a staff sitting behind me that's got a little green crystal on it. That particular staff broke on me one day. Not happy about that, but it is what it is. So, in a sense, you know, that's exactly what's gonna fucking happen. Billions of years from now, it's kind of like when you turn on the TV to physically watch the tape rewind itself when you push that button. Only humans won't see it happen. They'll just be bits of energy collected and stored and packed into essentially a can of sardines, metaphorically speaking. And once that can's opened up and exposed, it's then resealed. Like when you open up the can of sardines, and then when you let go of it, it closes back up again. Open it back up, it closes again. Metaphorically speaking. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Everything that has happened will happen again. Everything that hasn't happened will have already happened, and it's going to happen again. And no one knows for sure what's going to happen, because the future hasn't happened yet. But in a sense, the future is already happening. Every second I record this particular YouTube video is another second that's in the past, another second that's in the present, and another second that's in the future, all simultaneously happening at the same time as each second passes. Think of time, if you will, as a YouTube account. Each YouTube account that's created is basically a freaking, yeah, you compare the two, whether they're troll accounts or not. You know, you create a YouTube account, that's another account added to that vast ongoing system. And comparing that to time, you see what I'm saying? Every second that passes is like another YouTube account created. The only difference is you can't terminate time for being a dick. You see what I'm saying? And I've seen some shit on CNN today where this lady was being tailgated by this one dude in a big old truck, right? And this guy was being a huge ass about it. He then goes in front of her, switches lanes, backs up, flips her off, and then as he's continuing to drive, he loses control over his vehicle and gets into a crash. Now, he survived, thankfully enough, but the lady caught the whole thing on camera, and she was laughing about it hysterically. And when she posted it on YouTube, she had to disable her comments on her video because people were giving her death threats over that video. She was receiving death threats over her video that she posted because some guy flipped her off, and was being an inconsiderate douche about his driving. What the fuck is wrong with our society? Also, I saw on CNN yesterday that apparently in Florida there was a church van that got into a car crash and it killed 8 Jesus freaks. And the question I ask any Christian is, okay, here are devout followers of Christ and God, clearly children of God, and yet he lets them die in a van in Florida. Where's your sky God now? And the very simple answer to that is God doesn't exist. Because if he did and he truly cared, he wouldn't let shit like that happen. You know? You look at events like the Holocaust, the bubonic plague, 9/11, you know what I'm saying? Sandy Hook shooting. 4 things in Earth's history that just make people cringe because they're fucking horrible. And you ask yourself, if God truly cares about his children, why the fuck would he let shit like that happen? And the truth of the answer is, he doesn't exist, so it's just humans going through the same shit. And I hate being a self-righteous dick about saying shit like that, but it's the fucking truth. And the funny thing about it is, too, a lot of religions started because people were doing drugs and had some profound moment of conscious awareness, and somehow they thought of it. They just thought of their belief system, and that was that. And they picked people to follow it, so to speak. And I've done a lot of research into religion, so I wouldn't be so quick to just bash it and bash it and bash it and bash it. And a lot of people back in the day, including early Christians and Jews, used cannabis in their works. They would, basically, they had these tents, and they would elect somebody to go into these tents, and they would throw a bunch of cannabis onto a coal of sorts, and they would just get clam-baked as fuck. And they were elected and called, ironically enough, high priests. Think about that for a second, YouTube. In fact, an ointment oil that Christians used to use contained about 15 pounds of cannabis, virgin olive oil, and cinnamon, to name just 3 ingredients out of that ointment oil. Yeah, if you get a cop or an or DEA agent, you get a cop or a DEA agent who's arresting you for pot use, and they're a devout Christian. They were so fucking hypocritical, considering the first Bible was printed on hemp, believe it or not. Yeah, didn't know that, did you? I'm not a Christian, but I know my shit. Albert Einstein was considered a genius, and as a matter of fact, is a genius. And he told the U.S. government, I don't do drugs, I burn plants. Yep, Albert Einstein smoked pot, and he had Asperger's syndrome too. Go figure! Well, anyway, this is KingCobraJFS with another video. Thanks for watching. Dark blessings, and may the black flame be with you.